I've been watching a couple of videos on how to work this. I'm using the Canon 250D camera to record this, and I'm going to be doing a couple of videos. You have to excuse me here. So 2019 I was diagnosed with, was it 2018 I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, relapsing relapsing remitting MS, or MS as they call it. I'm based in the UK. At the time I was married, and I don't know what to say about it. At the time I was married, I had, I've had a couple of relapses, starting off with optic neuritis. That was the first clear sign that something was wrong. Luckily, I'm private healthcare at the time, through my company, and I was able to get into, at the time I was living in Wolverhampton, so Tent Hall was where I had to go to, and I saw a nice doctor there who done MRI scans. It was very quick, it was well faster than the NHS, and I'm just going to close that door so that neighbours don't hear. Not that they'll moan or say anything anyway. So yeah, I had optic neuritis, I had one eye, and I couldn't see out that eye. We're talking about 50 metres or so, I couldn't see. The building was just all the same colour, so I couldn't make out the bricks, I couldn't make out anything on it for about 50 metres. Because my good eye, and I don't remember if it was left or right, I can't remember, but basically one eye went, I think it was a right eye, because I went so bad so quickly, the other eye was having to do a lot more work, and because of the other eye doing a lot more work, it started to tire as well. Now, I don't know if it is the eye or if it was my brain, I don't know, but basically I had bad vision in both eyes, and about 18 months later I think I had the same again. This was back in 2016, so not long ago really, because this is like 2022 really. You just have to excuse me because this is the first video I've done, so you get what you get. So basically, I had that in 2016. Optic neuritis in one eye. I do have a couple of problems now talking properly because my brain gets tired, and because of other things or whatever has progressed, sometimes talking is difficult, so I will try to be clear as possible. Right, okay, so 2016 I got optic neuritis. About 18 months later, give or take a little bit, I had optic neuritis in the other eye. Obviously, at one point, because you have to go private, you have to go private at all, but some of it is private and some of it was handed back to the NHS to deal with. So I got osteoarthritis in the other eye, and obviously that it's the same thing again. When I was bad, it wasn't the actual eyeball; it was the nerve that is behind the eye. So between the eye and the eye and the brain, there's your optic nerve. And they are very common that they'll go on MS, as much as I found out. So that was that. I didn't pursue the diagnosis at the time because it meant a whole lot of things. At the time, as far as the doctors were aware, it was just optic neuritis. Now, some people can go all their life having optic neuritis whenever, and they make a recovery or as good as. But it meant a whole lot of things, like the neurologist would have to inform certain people. And at the time, I was getting a house as well, a new house. So obviously, telling the bank or anything that you have an illness, they might not give us a mortgage. I didn't pursue the diagnosis. I'll turn the TV off because I'm not watching it, and it's just distracting me. So basically, I had optic neuritis a couple of times. Because I've got other illness as well, potentially. So I get like confused quite a bit. But yeah, so I had osteoarthritis. Then I had my scalp and my face. It all felt like numb, and it felt like, because I scarred quite a bit my head. It feels like sometimes there's like you've got like nets and things in your head. So I had that for months upon months. It was like felt like numb. And I had another one where my face felt like numb. The only thing I can liken that to is when you go to the dentist and they have to inject the anaesthetic into you for like a filling or tooth removal or something. I would say your gums and that go numb, and it feels like you can feel yourself touching your face, but you don't. Well, that's what it's like. It felt like my face and my lips were numb. So I think we had to then, because I did move, and then that was when we went back to the neurologist. She was private, but she also worked for the NHS as well. Lovely doctor, Dr. Siddiqui, I remember very well. Very powerful as well, very, don't like people mess around. So I was in private for a little bit, for some of the immediate sort of like diagnosis and that, but at one point I had to get transferred back to the NHS because they didn't do it in private, and my private covered me up to the point of diagnosis. They didn't cover anything after that, so she had to transfer back to the NHS. I had to get a lumbar puncture, or a spinal tap, whatever you want to call it. Basically, they put a needle into your spine, and they take some spinal fluids. We're talking like 1 mil or 2 mils of that, and they test it, and I'm not too sure what it is exactly. I can't remember, but when they test it, they are looking for a set level, protein level, I think it is. And I don't know if, I don't know what it is exactly. It's one of two things. What they tested for is they tested for basically something in your spinal fluids. Well, they are testing for something in your spinal fluid, but it's testing for either you've got something or you haven't got something. I don't know if it's like the waste product of what the damage is doing, or if they're checking if the proteins are there. Basically, MS is an autoimmune disease where you've got like T cells and B cells. There's other videos that go into it in great more detail than what I can do. Basically, the way I understood it is your autoimmune system is working all the time. Whether you cut yourself or graze or something, it will go to it because it's constantly moving around your body, your blood, and all that nonsense, and they just find that as they do. But for some reason, they see your brain and your nerves as an enemy, like a virus. Like if you were to get, I don't know, some sort of infection, your immune system will attack that and heal it, and then you'll be all good. Some people are immune to CB, some people aren't. What basically, you have to excuse me because I'm looking up here because I've had to put the screen on because I don't know if I'm recording or not. Well, I think I am because the timer's counting down. So what they do is they see the nerves and they attack them, and specifically they attack what's called the myelin sheath around your nerves. Now if you imagine a multi-core cable, that's the only analogy I can think of. If you imagine a electric power socket, electric power lead, if you imagine the cores inside that would just do a soup core, for example, that is your nerve. Now around it, I'm looking over there because there's power cords. The cord is around that, and what happens is the immune system attacks the outer layer, leaving exposed the bare wires, or in my case, the bare nerves. I don't know if that's what this has for the lumbar puncture. If it's either the waste product, the myelin, or there is stuff. What are you doing? Stretching out. I don't know what I was talking about. See, that's the problem with the memory, is it goes, and you talk about it, and then you pick up, you go looking for your car keys, but then you forget why you got your car keys. Yeah, so those two cores, would you say two cores for example, are exposed, and this here, the outer sheath, is gone. What is happening is like it's scabbing over. So if you were to get graze or cut on your arm and then you get a scab on it, it's effectively, I understand it, is scabbing up. But because the scab never heals, it never goes back to normal, hence the reason you get multiple sclerosis, which is, I think it's actually Latin, which is scarring, multiple scars, effectively. That's what it is. In France, they call it sclérose en plaques, which basically is scarring and plaques. Right, okay. Well, you can see how bad I am because I'm not 100% convinced mentis. I am now going through a divorce because my ex-wife, ex-wife, I don't know what to say, I don't know what you call her, decided to pack bags up and leave, basically because I was getting what she called as vile and other stuff, which is going on to another thing. She's very kindly offered to not visit but do a phone call because I've got to go in to the doctors to find out if I'm also bipolar. Now, this is not a massively common thing with MS. I don't know if potentially I was bipolar before, or the MS is helping me become bipolar. I don't know. I don't know if it's helping me, but basically, the way, so we understand what MS is, I've got that, there's no getting away from it. That's been diagnosed, that's all been dealt with. I get ocrelizumab. Ocrelizumab is the chemical name, but Ocrevus is what we all call it. The word actually means what it says. So if you got ocrelizumab, the end bit, MAB, is, the way I see it, is multiple antibodies, but I think it's called mono something antibodies, which means it targets antibodies. And there's something in the word ocrelizumab, so the bit MAB, it means it targets antibodies. The ochre means nothing. We don't know what it means. Obviously, people that created it and founded it or whatever, they know what it is. But as far as I'm aware, it means nothing. The ochre, Li and the Zu. The Li and the Zu, they mean, I don't know what way around it is. One of them means we set on mice and then removed as much mouse protein as possible and then made it humanized. So for humans. And I don't know if that's the Li or the Zu. There's one of them means it targets an immune system. What it's targeting is it targeting B cells. Now you've got B cells and T cells. The T cells are the ones that migrate across and they get riled up, and they're the things that attack your brain and nervous system. But I watched a video on YouTube, Dr. Aaron Boster, he's in America, in Chicago, I think it is. No, not Chicago. Well, I know he's in Ohio. And he explained it quite simply. And I urge you to go across his channel because the guy's got a lot of information about MS. He's an MS neurologist and he does help people with MS. So yeah, his YouTube channel's there, and the way I watched his video and the way I understood it is the way he explained it. If you imagine two high school guys that are wanting to, and he calls it duke it out, they're doing kung fu shots to each other, those two guys are going to fight, but only when they get riled up by their little friends here. So without these little friends, which are the B cells, these two are the T cells, these two aren't going to fight unless all their friends are with them saying, yo, get them, you can have them, I'll hold you back or whatever. So basically we're killing these guys. Excuse me. Killing the B cells so that all that's left is the T cells, and the T cells in theory aren't agitated by these little guys, so they're not going to do anything. So that's the treatment I get. But there is another one, I can't remember the name of it, which forms a barrier because you got what's called a blood-brain barrier, and basically the brain, the spine, the spinal fluid of the brain, one of the other treatments is that these were designed for MS, so they're not like first line of defence where you take the tablet and hopefully you won't have anything, or the second line of defence I think is like self-injections. The third line of defence, which is the most expensive thing, but, and I say but, overall, they cost about the same. Because the tablets, you've got to take every day or every week or whatever, the injections every day or every week, I don't know, I haven't done them. Because I was offered a choice. And I chose Ocrevus, and the reason I chose that because you still have some B cells left, and there might be younger ones, adolescents, they're not full matured like the ones that are killed off, so you got baby B cells, I call them baby B cells, which can still fight infection, albeit it takes a bit longer. Like, I don't know, I got scratched today, I've been scratched by, but they're still my dog and other dogs, but they just get sad, they just jump up my scratch very easily now. It takes a while for it to heal. I'm not a doctor or a nurse or anything like that. I was in the Air Force for 30 years and 100 days to the dot. I then was a gas engineer, heat engineer, whatever you want to call it, for 10 years after I left the Air Force or whatever. So yeah, one of the other treatments is what's called a blood-brain barrier. You got your brain, but in theory, no immune system goes into your brain because I'll do it like that, so this you just buy, this is your brain, I'll do it like that, so it's a bit easier. Basically, it puts like a force field around there, so nothing can actually penetrate the blood-brain barrier. So nothing can go in there, but you can get what's called PML. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it is an infection in the brain, which they've got a test for. I think you've got to get blood tests every month. Because you've got this barrier, my thought is none of your baby B cells can get in here to fight the infection. There's a barrier around it, and that's the way I understand that one. PML, I can't remember exactly what it's called, I'm very sorry, I should have been more prepared. PML is basically an infection in the brain which, if undiagnosed, unprocessed, or whatever you want to call it, can lead to fatality. As far as I'm aware, only 2 people, maybe 3, in the whole world have had PML with Ocrevus. Now that's the whole world. There's a lot of people around the whole world. Because MS is quite prevalent in North America, Scandinavia, Northern Europe, all the places that are furthest away from the equator. So probably you go down as well to like Australia and things like that, but they get quite a lot of sun there because there's quite a lot of desert. We haven't got deserts in the UK really. So yeah, I suppose MS can happen everywhere. The thought initially was it's a vitamin D deficiency because you're further away from the equator. There's been talk about Epstein-Barr virus, saying that